I watched the first 4 episodes of My Adventure with Superman, and so far, I can't really say that I'm really impressed. It certainly is an interesting show with decent animation and enough potential, but to me it just suffers from not really the best writing, at least now. What do I mean by saying that? I'll give you a simple example. Right in the first episode, Clark Kent and his friend and college roommate Jimmy are rushing towards the Daily Planet office for their first day of internship there. But Jimmy nearly gets hit by a truck and Clark sees the driver of the truck. Later on, the driver turns out to be Livewire, the main antagonist of the first 2 episodes, who Clark recognizes because he saw her at the beginning in the truck. It's just such a fortunate coincidence for Clark. Lois Lane sees both Clark and Superman, but she can't even recognize Clark and Superman, even though they of course look absolutely identical, since they are the same person, with only 2 differences. Superman has a different hairstyle and doesn't need glasses, which Clark uses for the sake of disguise, I guess. Where glasses go when Clark transforms remains a mystery. Do they just disappear and then reappear again once Clark turns back into a normal guy? I didn't mention it before, but Clark here has a Sailor Moon style transformation, which I think is a logical decision because it makes Clark's transformation into Superman much easier than looking for a telephone booth. Where do you even find one these days? This show is heavily anime inspired, but it is not the only source of inspiration. Let's just talk about Lois Lane, especially her character design, because it is hard not to see obvious similarities between her and Luz Naceda from the Owl House. They are very similar characters, not only the way they look makes them so similar. Lois is basically a grown-up version of Luz, and not that I mind, of course. I am certainly not the biggest fan of the art style that the show has, but to be fair, the character design is pretty good. I really like Livewire's design, and I think it is the best design in the show so far. The action scenes are pretty decent too. Despite being on Adult Swim, it doesn't have any blood. It is a very safe show and could have easily been on Cartoon Network, where it should have been probably, to avoid confusion, because some people clearly expected an adult-oriented show about Superman, which My Adventure with Superman is not clearly. Also, the name implies that Lois is gonna be the main protagonist of the show. I am pretty interested in this take and would like to see where the storyline will eventually go and how the relationship between Clark and Lois will evolve. I think the writers are pushing way too hard to make them a couple. It is of course too soon to judge the show, and I am just sharing my first impression. And so far, the impression is not as positive as I expected. But hopefully the show will only get better. The show that did get better was Hailey's I would also like to add a couple of words about the show. At first I didn't like the show much. Maybe the reason was my expectations, as I thought Disney was gonna make another The Owl House for some reason. But it's more like new Molly McGee, to be honest. But with time I kinda grew fond of Hailey. It is a very simple and enjoyable episodic show with an obscure overarching plot. The voice actress of Hailey, I still don't know how to pronounce it. She steals the show. I love her voice, and I really love how much lively energy she gives to her character. The episode that genuinely surprised me was the one where Becker and Hailey became friends. I really did not expect LGBTQ representation in the show, at least not that open, and was pleasantly surprised to learn that Becker likes Hailey.
Whoa, did you hear that, Chainsaw? She's totally into me. Someday, I'm gonna kiss Hailey Banks.
What I also like about Hailey's is how it tackles stereotypes and how it makes every character genuinely nice, even if they are expected to be mean.
And I totally agree. A lot of these dares are downright mean. I just thought everyone else wanted to keep going.
This is something that I would like to see more. And of course, the theme song is an absolute banger. It is just fantastic, I don't know what else to say. Go and listen to the full version, I guess, wherever you can find it, Spotify or YouTube. It really is one of the best songs that I heard recently. both shows are far from being over yet, so I'll definitely return to them later at some point, hopefully with a positive review.